Welcome to Bird Seeds, and as always, thank you so much for joining. This is Joe Bird. Been a few weeks, apologize for that. Been real busy, but busy is good in my world, so no complaints on that. Today's topic, it's kind of been something that's been like brewing in my head, or just like just general theme that I've kind of been, working through and working on over the last, couple months or so. But it's a common saying, what you resist persists. And I believe this so true. You try to avoid the problems, whatever. Number one, you're not resolving anything. So therefore the problem never gets solved or resolved. Therefore it's still a problem. So you could look at this as like having a really difficult conversation with a loved one or a coworker or a client or something like that. But if you don't actually have that conversation, nothing actually gets resolved. And therefore that problem is still persisting. So sometimes it's so hard to do, but sometimes you just have to do it. You just have to force yourself to solve the problem, to have that conversation, to rip the Band-Aid off, whatever it may be. And this comes up so many different places in my life, business, personal relationships, all the above there. But it's really critical that you just kind of do this thing, whatever it is. And again, it's natural reaction to resist it, but it doesn't go away, and therefore it persists. So I was kind of doing some research on this and just kind of looking up what the saying means. And that's my take on that saying. And we're going to dive a little bit more into some of like the other factors about it. But that's really what kind of hits me is when you resist it, the problem can't be solved. Therefore, it's still there and it's persisting. Now, the other side of that is sometimes you take that problem that you're resisting and you can't stop focusing on it because you didn't solve it, and it gets bigger and it starts compounding on itself, and you start making other problems about it and worrying about other things about it. And you've taken this little tiny thing. Hey, I didn't like the way you said that to me. And now it's you hate me, I hate you, whatever. That's an extreme example, but it's true, right? So you're going to have a mental and emotional energy, even though it's in your subconscious, you are still worrying about it. You're still working through it. You're still having dreams about it. You're still waking up in the middle of the night about it. Again, you haven't solved anything, so therefore it's still there. We, as humans, our brains like familiarity. They like patterns. When you have a feeling that you're not addressing, your body will try to repeat that feeling because it likes that pattern. It likes that consistency. So we have to act in the way that we want things to be, and then we start creating patterns around that. And that comes to problem solving as well. And again, it can lead to anxiety and stress, panic attacks, things like that. Because even though we're not thinking about it actively, we push it aside, we push it out of our tactical world. Our emotional world is still worried about it, whether we're aware of that or not. So it's so clutch that you actually solve that problem. So what can you do instead, right? How can you handle this? You just got to sit with the emotions and the feelings and say, it's okay to feel like this. It's okay. What am I actually feeling? Not what do I think I want to feel, not what I think I feel. What am I actually feeling this moment? And those feelings are okay and validated. And then what can you do to move on from them? It's so crazy. You can't move on from the feeling until you fully express it. So we've talked grief a lot on this podcast. And this is a prime example of that. If you don't give yourself the time to have that grief, it never goes away. It just manifests and persists. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to miss. Those are all okay things. Let them out at the appropriate times, and therefore you move on from it. They don't sit there and burden you. Focus on this outcome. So if you're having that, you don't want to have that hard conversation with somebody that you need to have with them. Don't focus on the conversation. Focus on what comes after that conversation. The change in behavior, the change in relationship, whatever it may be. Think positive about what that's going to be, and you will affirm that, and you will make that happen. And self-compassion is obviously critical. You have to understand these are all normal things. So again, what you resist will persist. It's a simple concept. It's going to be a super short episode today, but I love it. I've really been working on making strides in my life to stop procrastinating, stop avoiding things. I have a huge fear of failure. It's super important to just take the risk, do it. If you fail, you fail. Pick it up, do it next time. Because if you don't do anything, you're going to fail. So if you're going to fail either way, you may as well take the risk and try to get something out of it. Because if you don't, you're going to fail. Once again, this is Bird Seeds. This is Joe Bird. Hope you have a wonderful day.